Hi, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Mike. Today we're going to be making a Greek-infused steak sandwich. So today you're going to need a small piece of hanger steak that we got here from the local Fairway Market. We're also going to need an eggplant, a red pepper, some zucchini, green and yellow, and for rub on the steak we're going to need some chili powder, onion powder, paprika, and lastly some oregano for the vegetables. We're going to be making sautéed onions with that, and that's about it. Let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is set your oven to 350 degrees. Okay, so we're going to start off by cutting off the ends of the onions. And this is going to be used for a topping on the steak sandwich. Go ahead and peel off the skin. And the way that we want to cut this is with just cut it straight down, chop it up, and just like this. And just into small, tiny little strands like so. And for today, I'm only actually going to be using half of the onion. Using the full onion is just too much. Let's also take this pepper. Just take off the sticker here. And let's cut this in half as well. And we'll take out the insides. Remember folks, always cut away from you, never towards you. And like I said, just like with the onion, we're only going to need half of the onion here today. I'm sorry, the pepper. So we're going to cut the pepper up into little strands like so. Okay, so we're going to come over here. We are going to turn on the stove, and we're going to use a non-stick pan today. And I'm just adding a little bit of olive oil, just enough to coat the pan. And swoosh it around just to get it nice and even. And now we are going to let that heat up for a minute. But meantime, we can start cutting the zucchini up and along with the eggplant. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cut the ends off. And we're going to cut them on a slant like this. And this just gives it sort of like a fancy sort of look to it. And just keep this separate from your onions and pepper. So this looks like it's about ready to go in. So we're just going to add it in like this. Be careful that the oil doesn't splatter you because it's very hot. Okay. Back to our cutting board. Let's put the zucchini back on here. We'll let that sit for a minute. I'm actually going to lower the flame because I don't want it to burn. And we're going to do the same thing as before with the zucchini. I'm going to cut it on an angle. Not too thin. You want it nice and thick. We're going to just cut this in half like so. Okay, let's put this all up on here. Okay, so now we're going to take about just a half a teaspoon of sugar. Now this is the secret ingredient that most people actually don't know. And you just want to sprinkle it on just enough to give it a nice coating in sugar. And this is going to just lighten up the onions and the peppers, and it makes it give it a little a sweet taste. So we're gonna come back over here to our zucchini, and we are gonna line them up like so. And we're gonna put some olive oil on it. Just want to use a little bit of olive oil. If you want, you can brush it on. I'm just gonna sort of sprinkle it on here, and I'll get on the pan and I'll just rub it in. So we're just gonna go ahead and make sure both sides get coated in a little bit of olive oil. So next, we're going to take our oregano, and we're just going to give it a, I'm actually going to pour it into my hands to not get too much, and just pour a little bit of oregano on top. So this way, when we grill it, it'll give it a nice sort of Greek flavor. And we are going to flip it over. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're also going to add a little bit of salt and pepper, and that'll give it a nice flavor kick as well. So let's go ahead and pour some out. You don't need a whole lot of oregano. Depending upon what you want to use is completely up to you. You can put a little bit of you can put really anything on vegetables. Take a little bit of salt and pepper now. Take a little bit of salt. And a little bit of pepper, fresh red pepper. And your onions and peppers are going to be done now, so I'm going to turn off the flame on that, and that can stay here until we get all finished up in a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to take, we're going to make our rub for our steak. So we're going to take a little bit of onion powder and just put it on top. I would say maybe about a tablespoon, maybe a little less than a tablespoon. Just a dash of chili powder, and this is going to give it sort of a spicy little kick to it. If you don't like chili powder, you don't have to use it. And also just a little bit of paprika. You don't want to put as much as onion powder as paprika, but you just want to use a little, and we're just going to sprinkle it up like this. And I'm actually going to take out another bowl cutting board because we don't want to cross-contaminate our steak. And I'm going to take our hanger steak. Hanger steak is actually the inside of the rib. So it's very similar to a skirt steak, but it's a little less fatty, so it's a little more healthy for you. I'm going to unravel it. We're going to take it like this. And all we're going to do is mix this up, make sure it's mixed nice and well. Maybe I can use a little bit more paprika. A little bit more paprika, mix it up. We're just going to sprinkle it on top. Like so. I'm going to flip it over, do the same to the other side. And because this is a small steak, I'm actually not going to use all of the rub that I made. And lastly, we're going to finish up our eggplant, and after that, we're going to head outside, and we're going to start grilling our steak and our vegetables. So we're going to just cut maybe 4 or 5 pieces. Make them a little thick, but it's up to you how you'd really like it. We're gonna put this off, just like the zucchini. We're gonna do the same thing to a little dash of olive oil. Now we're gonna head outside and we're gonna grill our vegetables, and I'll explain to you what more when we get out there. All right, so we're just gonna turn on our barbecue here. We're gonna let it sit for about 5 minutes just to heat up, and we'll come back outside to put the steak and everything else back on. So see you back inside. Okay, so we're gonna dip our paper towel into a little bit of olive oil, and we're just gonna put this on the barbecue just to give it, be careful not to get burned, just to make it like a non-stick surface. And what we want to do on one side, we're going to take our steak here, we're going to put it on the barbecue, and what we want to do is we're going to let that cook, but meanwhile we can put our vegetables on the grill like so. And what you want to do is actually let them burn, because it brings out more flavors in it, and the seasoning is what gives it the flavor. So you actually want to let it burn, and it'll give it a much better taste if you do so. Cut them, turn them both off. Some of our vegetables are starting to finish up here. Our steak is looking a little bit more done. I'm actually going to let some of the vegetables sit a little bit more, but you can start to take them off. This right here is a good color, and so something like this is going to be done. So just so you know what you're looking out for. I'm going to let this steak sit for a few more minutes. I'm going to continue to let the vegetables also barbecue as well, and I'll see you back inside once everything's done. Alright, so now we are back inside here. Now I'm going to slice our steak. I'm just going to cut it on an angle like so. Came out good. Meanwhile, just make sure that your oven is still on and working properly, because after this we're gonna heat up our bread with our cheese on it. And you can use any cheese. You don't have to use feta cheese. I just particularly like feta. And you can use American cheese if you want to make like a Philly cheesesteak or something to that effect. Okay, so now we have that sliced. We are going to, and just for a demonstration, this is just what your vegetables should look like when they're done. Alright, so here I just have a little bit of balsamic vinegar, and we're going to sprinkle this on the vegetables, and that'll give it one last nice little kick and flavor. You don't have to use a lot. If you like vinegar, feel free. If you don't even have to use it. So our meal is coming together. So I'm going to start to prepare everything on a plate. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to take our bread like so. I'm going to take our onions over here and peppers, and I'm going to just put it on top, and just like so. And I'm going to pack it in, and we're going to go over to our oven, where we are going to stick this in the oven, heat the peppers and onions up a little bit more. Alright, so we have our vegetables on our plate now. I'm going to cut up my olives just to put on top of my sandwich. I'm just going to cut them in half like this. Doesn't really need to be done too precisely. And be careful to check on your bread because you don't want it to burn. I'm gonna go over and check on it right now. Okay, so now that our bread is nice and toasted, we're gonna go ahead and take the steak, We're just going to pile it on like this. Be careful, the bread might be pretty hot. And this looks very, very, very good. The hanger steak really makes a nice steak to make any sort of sandwich. And we're also going to add our vegetables. Our olives. And we are almost ready to eat, the most important thing of all. So I'm going to come over here, put this on here, like that, and you are ready to serve and enjoy. And this is another episode of Cooking with Mike. I look forward to seeing you again.